Right, so we're launching this new podcast episode, and once a week, 30 minutes, the three of us, myself, Dan Rolinson, John Townley and Matt Kendrick are going to get together and discuss whatever Aston Villa topic floats our boat. We often say that we want to do more as a three, and we never do. We do the season preview and the live show at the end of the year, and that's it. And our faces are on the logo as a three, but we don't often get together like this. I want to do this every single week throughout the Premier League season. We're going to bring one topic of conversation to the show each week, and then just have a chat and see where it takes us. Matt, you've come up with today's episode, so this could be anything. Do you want to kind of discuss or tell us what you brought to the episode? And then we'll just have a chat.
I love the way you throw me under the bus in case it's crap. Launch a new format with me bringing the ideas to the table. What could possibly go wrong? I've not got any snappy way of putting it, but I quite like the newfound feistiness of Aston Villa. Whether that's, well, we can discuss what I mean by that. For some reason, my mind always, when I say the word feisty, it always goes to that in between us. Feisty one, you are.
Great start.
I think Aston Villa are a very feisty one lately, with due cause. I think we're learning to kind of, as much as we want our football team to be, I don't know, respectful and classy, I think sometimes you have to fight back and stand your ground. So yeah, ... discuss ...
What do you think about that, John, instantly? What's your instant reaction to Villa being feistier at the moment?
A lot of that is born out of, I'm already going into it. We did an episode the other day, didn't we, about our frustrations with many different things related to Premier League, UEFA, blah, 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 40 minutes of it. I think a lot of it is probably born out of that. I think if we were able to essentially spend money in the transfer market, I think we'd all be quite, still happy about the season to come, excitement. I don't think we'd be thinking like we've got something to prove or some people to kind of put down on, I don't know, some things to put right. Obviously, the back end of last season, we had, well, not on the final day, that decision go against us. So it feels like there are things that are going against Villa, but I'd also be cautious to not play the Arsenal card and be, we got these red cards at the start of the season and just feel sorry for yourself. I think it's a fine line to tread, but I don't think we will feel sorry for ourselves in the sort of situations that we have to deal with at the moment, because Unai Emery won't allow for that. I don't think that we'll make those excuses, but at the same time, I think we can also, as Matt's kind of alluded to there, have that sort of nasty side about us, and I think that can only be a good thing, really.
Yeah, we can talk about some of the financial bits, and maybe, Matt, we can kind of let you have your say on that. As John said, me and him did it yesterday. It's not just about that for me, though. It's some of the other bits as well. I don't know whether either of you heard Emery on TalkSport after Newcastle. Yeah, Matt's nodding. I was listening to it live, actually, in the car on the way back. I think it was Sam Matterface asking the questions, and he was kind of doing, as most reporters do, this is the narrative we want to say. What do you think about that? You didn't create much, did you, in the second half? What? And Emery's just like, shall I do the analysis? Or, he didn't say it in that kind of accent. Do you want me to do my analysis, or are you going to do yours? And it was like, oh, okay, like, turn the radio up. We've spoken a lot of times over the years, the Emery years now, about being, like you say, Matt, classy, respectful, doesn't argue with fourth officials, doesn't really bite back too much. And we've seen elements of it over the course of his time here. But generally, towards the back end of a season, when things do get a bit more feisty, to come out swinging on the 12:30 kickoff of the first weekend of the season, be like, "You going to let me speak or what?" It's a bit like, "Oh yeah, have you, mate? Go on, keep going." I really like that.
It's funny how you change with age, isn't it? Because when I was a reporter, probably used to get too much of that for my own liking, whether I was winding up Martin O'Neill or Paul Lambert or Ian Holloway, and I'm just David Moyes had a go at me about something as well. But so it's not nice to be on the receiving end of it. But when it's your manager who's clearly feeling the pressure, feeling frustrated, we all get frustrated when these things that are outside of our control, but we still are judged on, which is pretty much, listen, there's lots of things in Unai Emery's control that he's going to be judged on as well. But him voicing his frustration like that, I don't mind a bit of it. But like I said, if you're the one who's holding the microphone up to him, it's not the most comfortable place. But I think it feeds into the fact that we've always said, haven't we? And I've said this is a massive kind of attribute that I like Villa managers to have, that they can be classy and they can be respectful and they can be measured and they can be good ambassadors for the football club. And Emery's epitomised that since the minute he walked in the door. Well, that doesn't mean that you can't get stressed or that you can't put people in their place, and you don't win what he's won and achieve what he's achieved without having that little kind of that little edge. So, I'm glad that this lion is finally showing its teeth.
Yeah, have you ever had that sense in the presser, John, that you've asked a leading question and Emery's like, hang on a minute, that's not what I wanted to talk about?
Oh, possibly off the top of my head. It's been, two and a bit years now, so I can't quite remember. But to be honest, Unai's quite level-headed, I think, in written press conferences, if that makes sense. So there's a broadcast and a written section. In the broadcast, he's obviously fully aware people see what he, how he says things, and they can see his emotion, whereas the written side is just words, right? Black and white. So he's aware of that. But yeah, I think was it the United game last season on Boxing Day, when I think the question was something about the league table or the Champions League. How is it, how do you kind of assess it now? And I can't remember exactly how he said it, and I'm not going to act it out.
Well, the one when he was like 30 points, fantastic, or whatever. Like that was
yeah, basically. He kind of showed his teeth there as well. So, yeah, I like that side of Unai's match when it's not you on the other side of it, because you can see, like, in a different way, if you were one of his players and you weren't putting in the required effort or carrying out his tactical plan, you don't want to be on the other end of that. Just in general, though, having the kind of energy to put people not in their place, that's the wrong thing to say, because Sam's question was to be, pretty much a normal question that many people would ask, but Unai will choose to, if he doesn't like it, he'll let you know, sort of thing.
Or Sam out of face.
yeah, it's kind of the wrong time to go down that route, I suppose. But hey, he's got a good answer out of Unai. We are talking about it.
But what's interesting about this kind of talking point is, like we said, we want Villa to be classy, want them to be better, want them to be different. It is curious how you kind of enjoy these things when it's your manager sometimes. If this was Nuno biting back at Sam Matterface on the first day. Sam Matterface had so many mentioned in this podcast, by the way. If he's
Sorry,
listening.
Sam.
If that's Nuno, are we going, oh, Nuno's losing it a bit, that's a bit cringe? Does it differ when it's your own manager?
Probably, yeah. I mean, if you take it in the context and you leave our Claret and Blue allegiances to one side, you're thinking, he's gone early, hasn't he? He's lost his rag a bit early,
The interview's only 30 seconds long.
or October or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. That's the partisan nature of sport, isn't it? Anybody else does it, they're an idiot. One of our own does it, they're one of our own, aren't they? So let's stand behind.
That's a good question for Arsenal fans, because I don't know actually how they perceive Arteta sometimes, when he comes out with these silly statements and the way he acts. It's not how I'd want my manager to operate. Interesting what Matt said there about kind of how others view you or the club. I saw a lot after Tyrone Mings put that message up, didn't he? After Jacob Ramsey left, saying you don't know the half or whatever. Don't criticise Ramsey. A lot of outsiders perceive that as like, oh, there's trouble behind the scenes at Villa. Well, that's there is, but it's not. It's not within.
Not in the way you think.
What I mean? Exactly. It's something that you just wouldn't be aware of if you don't follow Villa, I suppose, as closely as what we do. Obviously, that's with reference to, quite a few different things, but primarily we all know that we're in this together to try and kind of solve these financial restraints and whatnot. We have things going against us, and we're trying to pull and push back on them. People take that literally as like, something a bit more kind of sinister within the club, and it's not the case at all.
I saw a lot of that. Yeah, like, well, maybe Emery sold them against the player's will, and he's a really popular dressing room character, and maybe this is Mings speaking out against Emery, and it's like, no, you massively misread the room.
Yeah, well, this is classic. Like, Man United made themselves a dominant force on the back of this under Fergie when they built out this siege mentality. The world's against us, Sure, Alex Ferguson was able to kind of dig out and call out reporters a lot more often than Unai Emery ever has done or ever will do. Yeah. So I think it is that, maybe it is, maybe we're doing him a disservice. Maybe it's part of the management manual where he's trying to create a kind of us against the world kind of mentality, because
that suits us.
If Villa aren't going to have the same. Same advantages, that if Villa are going to have restrictions imposed upon them that clubs haven't had because they got in before the stable door was bolted, if you like, then it is up to Villa to maximise every ounce of what they are capable of achieving. If that means making the fans, the manager, and all the players angry along the way, then bring it on.
I think this isn't quite the same at all, but Mings' comments and John McGinn's maybe less so, referencing that this is the way football is now. Emery biting back in a press conference. How often do you just get all the best, JJ? Good luck, like very placid, nothing messages. Managers, played well today. Wish we'd have scored in the first half, but we didn't. Very nothingness. You want to have a bit of personality come across in the team, and you'll remember more so than me and John because we weren't alive. But John Gregory, if I had a gun, I'd have shot him. Like very, very different vibes, but just speaking out and standing up for your club, like that's a thing that's kind of been lost in modern football, I think.
Yeah, it was the anniversary, wasn't it? Was it yesterday? Was it 27 years? Is that right? Does that sound right?
I was alive then, but only just.
Yeah, I think 98 it would have been, wouldn't it? I think he won the bloody treble in his first year there, didn't he? I think Tim Sherwood was quite good at this as well. He was probably, probably better at bravado than he was tactics. But he was good at that. We'd had years of, McLeish, Lambert, almost talking Villa down. And listen, I understand why they did that because it was expectation management as much as anything. And then Sherwood waltzes in, Gilles and all, as if, just, well, that was it. I mean, I never even knew you could check a pulse there until I'd seen it to Sherwood. I thought it was on the wrist. But it's that. I mean, it's a different thing to what we're talking about now, but it does still come down to that little bit of kind of arrogance and swagger and standing up for yourself.
It is, yeah.
But I mean, I'm not sure you'd get away with the if somebody said that, like Gregory said now, you'd probably get, a touchline ban for half a season. You'd probably have people, I don't know, you'd probably have people, every single gun crime would probably be within the 20-mile radius of Villa Park would probably be blamed on the manager from then on. So I think Gregory was an extreme and of the time, although again he summed up the feelings of the fan base pretty well. I think Emery's got a few more gears to go up until he gets to that level.
I love how in our first episode here we've compared Emery to Sherwood. I actually remember watching Sherwood's first, always introduction as Villa manager, his unveiling even introduction. I would have been year 10 or something. And I remember because for the last, when was it, 2015, I think, that he was appointed. And obviously in the years leading up to then, after Martin O'Neill, he was been so doom and gloom. I vividly remember him saying something along the lines of we just want to win football matches, mate. And I was like, oh my God, win football matches. Let's do that.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, literally. And then, oh, wow, the win against Spurs, that 1-0 Benteke header, it was Jesus, we're on cloud 9 here. So we've come a long way since then. But there was parts of Sherwood that I think everyone warmed to at the time.
Yeah, it was needed, I think.
In those times. But even now in a very different way, that sort of energy. I'm not saying bring Sherwood back and give him an ambassador role or anything, but having that energy and sort of impetus to kind of rally people up a little bit, because we saw Emery Instagram the other day. I think he put out a post saying we need your support and stuff. I'm sure that must have been in some ways kind of a reflection on what, not that he's scrolling on social media, but obviously the club, they'll be aware of it, that there's a lot of not negativity towards Villa, but negativity to a lot that's going on outside of Villa that's influencing their decisions, rightly or wrongly. And that sort of thing, you want a bit more from Unai. I kind of wanted him to batter the rules and blame Richard, not literally blame Richard Masters in the press conference, but talk out about it a bit more. That's what I wanted. But he was, as always, just focused on, well, I've been here before. I did this at Sevilla, Villarreal and Valencia. It's part of my career that I don't have more power, or I'm at clubs that don't have as much power as others. The only time I've had a chance to really spend money was at PSG, and that's fine by me. So in a way, it's all right, we've got the perfect guy to continue to progress the club, even though we are hamstrung. But at the same time, I almost want him to come with fire and anger.
That might come.
Yeah,
it might do. Yeah, we haven't had match week 2 interviews yet.
wait till after Bournemouth. Brentford in. It is Brentford, isn't it? I'm confusing myself. Begin with a B.
Just let you go then. You'll work it out.
Yeah, I'll correct myself.
He'll get there.
On the McGinn and Mings, a few senior moments here. On the McGinn and Mings thing, I found that really, really refreshing, because, like you said, it is normally a thumbs up and all the best mate and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think you'd have seen Emery particularly scrolling social media, but I think lots of the Villa players will be aware of the narrative and the vibe on social media. And I think that was more to come out in defence of Ramsey, really. And I think they probably feel frustrated that it's weird, isn't it? Because not qualifying for the Champions League obviously has far-reaching ramifications in terms of what Villa do or are capable of doing in the transfer market and retaining key members of the squad. But they've started to realise that missing out on the Champions League means they have to say goodbye to one of their mates.
Yeah.
Every summer, basically, don't they? And I think that must be really frustrating because, we've lost Douglas Luiz, we've lost Jacob Ramsey. And yes, we've got good players and we've certainly got good players in our midfield, but both of those would still be really, really good options. And it's through no fault of the clubs, really. You could say we should have beat Man United at the last day of the season, but that's already written. I think it's just them saying, listen, we are hamstrung by this and we're not going to just sit down and take it. So, yeah. ...
What do we think about, just quickly, Luiz going to Forest?
I mean, what year was he good with us? Was it the qualifying for the top 4 year?
23-24.
Yeah. The first half of that in particular, he tailed off a bit, didn't he, towards the end of that season anyway. If Forest are getting that, then yeah, that's bad for Villa potentially. I don't think Forest will finish in Europe this season, to be perfectly honest, and I think Villa will. So
they are in the Europa League, aren't they?
Yeah, true. So some ways they're not a rival in the league. I suppose they are in Europe then. So I'm not that bothered. But when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, or last week, about Everton going for Grealish, I felt nothing towards that. I feel slightly more about Luiz because I think there's still a good player in there. But there's Grealish is a bit like, don't know really. To be honest.
I'm the exact opposite about that.
Oh yeah,
and I've not spoken about Grealish, so I won't hijack the platform to go on about it in great detail. But Douglas Luiz going to Nottingham Forest doesn't bother me in the sense that we're well equipped in that area. We've got, we've got
like you said, we still like the options though.
Tielemans and Kamara in there who I think are better than Douglas Luiz. Maybe that's me being a bit kind of.
No, I think that's true.
Short term or whatever. If we've got Yakuba Silla and Ashley Westwood in the double pivot, with respect to both of those players, then I probably would yearn for Douglas Luiz. Grealish is a different one for me. Obviously, kind of tugs at some of the emotional heartstrings from what he did, and being a Villa kid, born and bred, if you like. But also, what have we got on the left wing at the moment? Do you know what I mean? Right. Whereas we lost Rashford and we haven't replaced really yet. I know we've still got a few things to see as the season, as we get towards deadline and the season opens up. I think, like I said, I can cope with the Luiz because I think we're better stocked and we're better without him in that area. Yeah, I don't think we currently are in terms of that left wing area.
No, I see what you're saying, but I'd kind of position it as Tielemans and Kamara as midfield 1, and then Onana and Douglas Luiz as midfield 2 would be really nice instead of Barkley, I guess. But that's a very stacked midfield that you probably can't afford to carry that level of talent, maybe. I just feel like it's different to the Grealish thing that, Douglas Luiz, the back end of his Villa career wasn't amazing. He's had a nothing year with Juventus, and now he's back in the Premier League. That goes two ways. He's got a point to prove and he's still talented, or he's washed up, as the kids would say, or cooked, is it?
I wish my kids would know the phrase washed up. I probably do when they're describing me, but not when they're doing chores.
However, I kind of think the Grealish thing's, in my mind, it's been and gone now, and he's now gone to a club that isn't as good as us. And arguably, Nottingham Forest aren't a club as good as us either. But I still think Grealish went with blessing to an extent. There's a release clause. He goes, he wins his stuff, whatever. We shouldn't really have ever lost Luiz in the first place if it wasn't for the pesky rules. If it wasn't for needing to raise a certain amount of cash, do we sell Douglas Luiz by choice? I don't think so. So I kind of feel like there's an injustice that we should probably still be ours anyway.
Oh, don't get too feisty about it, Dan. Just to get us back on track.
Sounds like you care to me.
No, I said I do care. I care a little bit. Do you care, John? You brought it up.
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I like Douglas Luiz as a player, and I think it will be a shame to see him play for another team. I do think will compete in and around where we'll be. Edu wanted him badly at Arsenal, and that nearly happened. Now Edu's gone to Forest, so I don't really think it's a big surprise. The only thing I would say is there's a funny video of some woman shouting in a window, "Where'd you get your money from?" I don't know if you've seen it before. I keep thinking about that about Forest.
Talking of viral videos, actually, let's bring it back to Tim's show, whatever, so quickly.
We need to add that video into this thing. No, done.
Yeah, okay.
Where'd you get your money from?
Tim Sherwood and Sam Matterface doing absolute bits on this episode. I actually thought about Tim Sherwood the other day for the first time in ages because I did what he did when he opened the door with his foot. Do you remember that? And he came to Bodymore and he opened the door, he kicked the button. I did that. I don't know where I was, doctors or something. I was holding Will from something else, and there was a little button to open the door, so I kicked it and I went, Tim Sherwood. So weird change of events that we're now discussing him on the podcast, but there we go.
You know, once while we're talking about what we can do with our feet, I managed to knock a 4-pack of Corona that are on the shelf in our local co-op. I was been reaching for them or something else. I knocked them, and I was able to. I've never known a first touch like it. I was able to cushion them. None of them broke.
Nice.
Well, I didn't injure my foot. Honestly, it's one of those ones where you almost want to go in and check if they've got CCTV just so you can stick it on your highlights reel. But
that's a great feeling. That is. You ever drop something when you're cooking or whatever? You drop an onion or something, you catch it on your foot so it doesn't smash off the floor. That's a lovely feeling. That is.
But you don't remember Dave Besant? I think it was who was the Wimbledon goalkeeper when they famously won the FA Cup in '88. I think it'd have been, would it? I've seen like a roundup of the 10 freakiest injuries. I think he went to try and trap. He got no shoes on. He got like little socks on. He went to trap a bottle of salad cream. I think a glass.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I think he knackered it. I don't think metatarsals were invented by then. I think metatarsals were only invented when Beckham did his. But he broke his metatarsal trying to trap a bottle of salad cream.
A glass bottle of salad cream. How does that work?
I loved the glass bottles of sauces back in the day. You don't remember them, John?
Oh,
like a tomato sauce, they'd be glass bottles at one stage. They were better. They were.
No, I know.
I saw on Facebook earlier. It was.
What a sentence that is! How's this going?
No,
you're all right.
You've got a nasty streak.
It's family friendly. There was I don't know, one of these banter accounts or something stupid. It was Maltesers taste better out of a box than out of a bag. And they absolutely do, don't they? Do you agree?
Yeah, that is correct. I don't know why that is. You reckon it's something to do with like the gas in the packaging or something?
I'm not sure. I don't know whether they just look more presented, whether it's more, Ferrero Rocher with these Maltesers who are really spoiling us. Anyway.
I don't know where to take that, to be honest. But we and John have done the financial stuff, the bemoaning the rules, the PSR, the UEFA restrictions. Do you think that there has to be this kind of collective anger or feistiness, or however we want to phrase it, not just from the clubs as well, but the fans? We spoke about the PSR chants at the Newcastle post-match show. Does there need to be a bit more of that from the people, the clubs that it's affecting? Because maybe if we kind of club together rather than laughing at each other, we could change something.
It's a tactic. I don't know whether it will work. I think Villa have tried to explore and exploit loopholes that they can find in the rules to try and level the playing fields. I did find it, I think we mentioned it briefly on the post-match after Saturday's game. I did find it quite endearing that both clubs, had this faux rivalry going back to a couple of bedsheet banners years ago, but they found a united front on the fact that we feel we've been stitched up royally by the powers that be. So I do think I'm sceptical of whether it would make any change, but I'm not sure the Premier League would like to, if these banners and placards and constant chanting, if it embarrasses the authorities. Listen, it might not make a difference, but if you can make them squirm and make them know that we're not going to accept it quietly, then I'm all for it, to be honest.
Yeah, and you'd think, John, that would be helped by the supporters of different clubs if they felt like their clubs were fighting it as well. So having Emery or Damian or whoever mentioning things on Instagram or in pressers, having players kind of like Mings stir the pot a little bit, that will all surely help as well. Some people might see that as a bit of a tin pot and they're moaning or whatever, but I think it's a good thing.
Well, I just think educating other fans on it, to be honest. I don't think this is anything that's... I mean, most big Commercial 6 fans won't care, but there just seems to be this big thing about how Villa is so irresponsibly run because once they had a wage turnover of above 90% and now it isn't. That picture doing the rounds, the Sky Sports graphic that every fan is tweeting us, oh look, their wages are 96%. First of all, that was a couple of years ago, and Villa are doing something about it, and it's not 96% anymore. It's mad. Yeah, we have an agreement with UEFA to change it, and Man City's was way over that as well when they had the luxury to do so. So that's all we're saying. It's now a closed shop, and you can't. But anyway, see the 40-minute rant. It's a shame because there is nothing that fans can do about it to literally change rules, but just bringing eyes to the situation and having people understand why they're complaining. We're not just moaning because we can't suspend the transfer fees, on some players. It's much more than that. So I mean, the issue is that Brighton, Bournemouth, and other clubs, they don't care because their model is completely different to Villa's and Newcastle's. You could probably club Forest into there as well when they have to sell players eventually, more so than just Alanga. But yeah, it's something that I just think Villa fans need to continue to be vocal about, Newcastle fans as well, just to make people aware of the situation more than anything else. Because we know we're not going to change anything, but if we can make it quite abundantly obvious why we're complaining, then I think some people will see a bit of light to the situation. It's pretty simple why we're moaning, but I think a lot of people will see it as another one of those, they're unhappy because of this reason, and there must be something more, or there isn't enough to it for it to be worthwhile, if that makes sense. But I definitely think it's worthwhile. As we said before, Dan, if Brighton and Bournemouth and some other clubs continually, or even Palace continually do well in the Premier League and are mid-table, and they want to kick on and go to the next stage, they won't be able to. And that's the situation that we're in now because we've progressed quicker than them. It should affect more than just 2 football clubs, but at the moment it is only 2, really.
You'll have to censor me, Dan, in the edit, but I'd love to see our players wear Premier League corrupt as fuck t-shirts under the shirts, and not for goal celebrations. Am I right saying, John, we've had 3 players sent off in our last 4 Premier League games with Onana, Martinez, and now Konza. If you're going to get a ban anyway, you might as well just show it as you leave the pitch and do it like that, to be honest.
Ramsey here.
Was it Ramsey?
Ramsey was 2 yellow cards against Bournemouth, right? I think.
Yeah, Ramsey got sent off.
Onana played well, didn't he? I know Onana was memorable for some reason. It's been a long time. Anyway,
let's feel ages ago.
Ramsey can definitely do it now. He can take it.
He can do it for either club, couldn't he? So it's worked out well for him. Right, good. Just to wrap up then this episode, we've said half an hour, but I'll obviously edit it so it might be slightly less. Just on the pitch as well, I think this is also a thing that I want to see a bit more of. If other clubs are time wasting and being a bit physical and dirty or whatever, we need to be a bit like that. If other clubs surround the referee and get away with it, why aren't we doing those things as well? So I'd like to see the kind of themes we've been speaking about here translate onto the pitch as well.
We are the serial multi-ball offenders, remember, Dan?
Well, of course, yeah, with our punishment of not being able to use multi-ball. I don't know, if the ball comes over to Emery and the opposition player comes to pick it up, just roll it away. Just do a bit of something that creates a bit of need, or I want to see some of that as well.
I'm old enough to remember Alan Hutton stabbing Berahino in the chest.
I remember that as well,
with his boots. I don't want to be seen to be advocating or encouraging.
No, I don't want us to be dirty, but just a bit of fight, a bit of bite.
I think there can be a bit of the dark arts. I think I said to you the other day, didn't I, that Konza did that a little bit by taking one for the team and protecting the clean sheet on Saturday. So I think it's in there. Like I say, I think we flip and flop, don't we? Because we've always said, we like that Villa are different from other clubs and other teams and all this kind of stuff. But does it just get you pegged as being too nice, to be honest?
I think we saw that a lot, what Matt just said there about being a bit of a soft touch away from home. I think at Villa Park, there's no excuse not to bring a bit of kind of, blood and thunder, and we've got a brilliant home record. But in general, I just think away from home, we know that firstly, sometimes the occasion can get to us in the big games where it really has something on the line. But also, our away record really wasn't great at all last season compared to what it was the year before and where it needs to be for us to, constantly finish in 5th and 4th without relying on the home form to be almost unbeaten the whole season. I think last season there was some games where we didn't really show enough to warrant any points. Some games we did, but again, to be the 4th best team in the Premier League that's the the aspiration that we have. I think showing that kind of nastier side and being more streetwise is certainly something that we can improve on. And there aren't a lot of things that we can improve on, really. I think this is definitely one of them.
I'm going to wrap up there, gents. We've done our half an hour, the first 3-person podcast of the season. Please get involved with some name suggestions for this. We did ask for some on social media, but to be brutally honest, I don't think any of them were that good. And the ones we thought of weren't that good either, to be fair.
I've just thought of a not good one.
Go on.
You know, like peas in a pod. What about threes in a pod?
To be honest, that's not that bad, is it? That's all right.
I was going to say, just ask Matt. Whatever Matt says, we'll just go. It'll probably be something that I think we might have found it.
It ain't that bad, If I say like, "Oh, we've done the preview yesterday," and if you miss three, what was it? 3 peas in a pod?
No, just threes in a pod.
Oh, 3s in a pod. If you missed 3s in a pod the other day, yeah, maybe I can do our little heads in a little pea.
Oh God, no! Little pea heads.
How bad are the suggestions if you're actually thinking that might be a go?
Bad, some of them. I'm joking. Yeah, we had things like a back 3 or the front 3 or something football related. The hat trick is that, I don't know, couldn't think of anything good enough. So
GPT as well, didn't we?
Yeah, that didn't go well, was it? It was basically just things like the Villa whole podcast brackets 3 or whatever. It was like, what? That doesn't count. So yeah, we'll call it a wrap there. We'll be back next week, same format, the 3 of us chatting whatever we want about Villa. Someone else will bring a topic of conversation to the show. If you enjoyed it, let us know. If you didn't, also let us know, and we'll just scrap it. Well, why not? No, we're going to try and do it throughout the season. I want us to do more as a 3, so this is the beginning of that. You enjoyed it, gents?
I thought you were quite feisty actually on the on social media. Somebody who was those Twitter handles that have like 7 letters and 3 numbers or whatever.
Yeah,
somebody was giving you a bit of stick on there, weren't they? I thought you handled them quite feistily. You need to chill out, mate.
I need to get thicker skin apparently, and then it instantly got blocked. Yeah, madness. Anyway, that'll do for this one. Thank you very much for watching or listening to this episode of the Car Blue podcast. Thank you, John and Matt. We'll see you both next week for the same again, but John, I'll see you for the match preview for Brentford on Friday. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you then.